Hello, everybody. In this video, I'm going to go over the answers for questions 4, 5, and 6 in Assignment 6. Now, the reason I'm not going over questions 1, 2, and 3 was, in general, they were all done perfectly. Um, they weren't really anything that was anything new for us this week. But when it came to the yes-no question inversion, WH movement in WH questions, and yeah, for some reason, I think the length of question 6 tripped a lot of people up. Um, yeah, some of the answers for question 6 were all over the place. There really shouldn't be. There's nothing really very difficult about question 6, so I'll just quickly go over that and just show you why you really shouldn't be making any errors on that one. Okay, let's jump into this. So let me just make sure I'm recording. Okay, so I'll start with question 6 because why not? It's actually really easy. So I'm going to start by labeling all of my parts of speech. All right, so from is a preposition, will be tense, find is obviously the verb, determiner, and noun phrase. Now, okay, so one thing you always want to remember is this is a complete sentence. It's grammatically well formed, so it's going to be a tense phrase. Okay, so let's first identify what's going to be what's the subject of this sentence, right? And what's the object? So, well, I can quickly see that find is the verb, will is the tense marker, and well, so everything that comes before the verb is likely going to be the subject. And let's just think about it for a second. So, who was it that found the shortcut? Well, the hikers from the school did. And what did the hikers from the school find? Well, they found the shortcut. So we can quickly identify that the hikers from the school is the subject, and this is going to be a single noun phrase. The shortcut will be the object and will be another noun phrase. So I'll do the easiest things first. So I'm going to add my noun phrase here. And then just by doing that, I can quickly see that there's going to be a verb phrase connecting the verb and the noun phrase. All right. This follows a pattern we've seen over and over again. So by now you should be able to quickly recognize this kind of pattern. And then again, I see this like the tense marker with the tense phrase and the verb phrase. So again, this is something we've done over and over again. The T will connect up to the T bar, which will connect the VP, and that connects up to the TP. All right, so now just from that, we have half of our sentence done already. So the only thing we have to do now is figure out how to construct this noun phrase. Okay, so rather than connect this up and make a noun phrase, connect this up and make a noun phrase, I'm going to start from the furthest right that I can go. Because if I connect this up to a noun phrase, I'm actually going to run into some trouble in a second, and I'll show you why. Okay, so if I'm making my noun phrase here, all right, that's just fine. And now I can quickly, well, it's pretty obvious that from the school is a prepositional phrase that's giving us extra information about hikers, right? They're not hikers near the school. They're not hikers on the school. They're not hikers in the school. They're hikers that are from the school, indicating that they're students at the school. All right, there we go. So that's our prepositional phrase that's giving information to hikers. Now, notice that it's not giving information to the hikers. I'll explain why that is in a second. So what I'm going to do is have this noun and this prepositional phrase connect up here at an N bar. Because again, I want all these things to attach, but I want the determiner to attach higher than the hikers, and I'll explain why that is just now. So N is going to connect up here to the N bar, and the complement is the prepositional phrase here. So why couldn't I connect this determiner and noun into a noun phrase and then have the noun phrase and the prepositional phrase attached? Why doesn't that make sense? Well, the reason is, so imagine I take away the. I have hikers from the school. Now that's great. That's kind of a noun phrase in and of itself. But I want to add a specifier to that noun phrase. So imagine I say some instead of a different specifier. Some hikers from the school. I'm not saying some hikers and then those hikers happen to be from the school. I'm saying of all of the hikers from the school, some of them found the shortcut, or some of them will find the shortcut. So this determiner is not giving information to the noun alone. It's giving information to the noun and the complement, right? Because I'm talking about hikers from the school, and if I say some hikers from the school, I'm talking about a subset of hikers from the school, not a subset of hikers in general that happen to be from the school. So that's why this determiner is going to connect above this n bar, because it's really giving information to everything below here and not just hikers. It does happen to be beside hikers, but if you think about the meaning of it and the implications of that, then I think it's clear. Maybe that isn't clear, but that's definitely the way to be thinking about it. What is this specifier giving information about? So again, if we talk about the rather than some, the hikers from the school. Does this work? How do I explain this? Well, we're talking about a specific group of hikers from the school. So when we use the definite article, usually it's in the case where we have established shared information between two speakers. So I have this conception of a specific group of hikers from a specific school. So when I'm saying I'm pointing directly at this concept that we share. In other words, the hikers from this school. That's maybe slightly less clear than the some example. All right, and this comes up here and attaches there, and we have our entire sentence neatly divided between this will here, and we've got our subject, and over here we have our object and the verb phrase here. All right, so again, this shouldn't have been anything new. It's just a little bit more complicated than the things we've done before. But if we're following our basic X-bar schema, there really isn't anything tricky about this. Okay, now let's go over to do our questions. So let's start with the yes or no question because this is easier. I have another sentence. I think I might just build the WH question out of this. Okay, so I want to start by thinking of the deep structure of this sentence. And so what I mean by when I say that is I want to think about the statement that is underlying the question. All right, so I've made the statement, the hikers will find the shortcut. And again, just based on everything else, I've got my parts of speech already done. Okay, so let's just start making our tree. This is going to be a noun phrase here. This is going to be a verb phrase up here. I'm going to have a T-bar up here. I'm going to run out of space. I'm going to bring this down a little bit. T-bar, and I've got my TP. I'm going to drag it over here a little bit. I'll show you why I'm going to do that in a second. This is going to be a noun phrase down here. Okay, let's just join all these up. The verb and the noun phrase, and the T comes up to the T-bar, and the T-bar attaches to the TP. This little thing here. All right, and here the determiner connects the noun phrase with the noun, and this will connect up to here. Okay, so now we have the tree structure for our statement. Now, what is different about the statement when compared to the question? Well, the difference is that it's called inversion, right? So essentially, the position of the noun phrase, or the subject in this case, will invert with the auxiliary, this modal auxiliary will. This, I think, is sometimes called, oh, I forget what it's called. Like something aux inversion. But anyway, for our purposes, it's just inversion. All right, so what I need to do is have this will invert. So by moving it to the far left, we'll essentially invert its position with the hikers. But I need a place for this will to land. So I'm just going to write will over here. All right, and will is going to be a T. All right. So in this case, I need a place for this to land. So what we're going to do is create a complement phrase. So in this complement phrase, complementizer phrase, what we're kind of saying is happening is that Will is acting as the head of this complement phrase, and the entire sentence afterwards is going to be the complement of this question. So I'm going to add a plus question here just to indicate that it is a question. And because we're conceiving of Will as being the head, and this tense phrase is being the complement of this question, we're going to attach it this way, the same way we would do with any other X-bar. Well, we're just following the X-bar schema blueprint. There we go. Whereby this complementizer here is the head of the sentence, and this is a complement, which happens to be an entire sentence. So now if we read it through, we can say, will the hikers will find the shortcut. So we have an issue here because will is occurring again. So I have to delete this and add a trace. So a trace is just indicating that in the deep structure of the sentence, will is it's kind of there. It's deeply there. But on the surface structure of the sentence, it's not. So now we have our surface structure of the sentence being will the hikers find the shortcut, and we have this deep structure of the sentence including this trace here. All right. Now I don't really have space up here. What am I going to do with that? Okay, I'm just gonna break my own rules and add a kind of horizontal line. I'm just gonna delete this for now, and I'm gonna add my complementizer phrase up here. Because remember, you can't have a complementizer phrase going into a complementizer phrase. That's when we want to use C bar. Okay, sorry. What I'm doing now is I'm going to start doing the WH question. But essentially, in WH questions where we're asking about the object, we're going to both use inversion, because we have to invert the subject and the auxiliary, moving the will to the front. And now I need to then trace the object of the sentence. And I'll show you how to do that right now. So what I want to do, so in the WH question, we're going to say, well, the WH question is, what will the hikers find? Right? So this shortcut is what's being asked about in the WH word. So I want to take this and trace it all the way over here. Okay. And I'm going to delete, what am I going to delete? I'm going to delete all of this. All right. Because I want to indicate that it is, in fact, a noun phrase that's being traced. Here we go. Okay. Now, I've removed the bottom part of this noun phrase. So I need to insert it over here. So I want to have the shortcut. Okay. And again, I want to label the parts of speech. And I want to indicate that this is all a noun phrase. Because again, look, what's being traced is a noun phrase. So I have to show the structure again over here. I'm going to do it like this. Here we go. And this noun phrase can connect here. So I guess in this case, we're thinking of the noun phrase as being a specifier of the complementizer that is will. All right, so if I look at this, now I have, well, oh, sorry. I've done this a little bit wrong. I'm going to delete this shortcut again. I don't actually need to show the structure. Sorry about that. What I'm going to do is have the noun phrase come down here. And I'm going to put what. I think that works. So I basically what I'm not showing here is the structure of the shortcut. I'll have to follow up about this with Professor Libin. I just realized that I'm not 100% sure about what to do here. Should I have a triangle here, including determiner and noun? Should I leave a triangle down here, indicating that there's a determiner and a noun that's being traced? I'm not precisely sure. So at this point, I'm just going to leave NP with a T trace and an NP with what, and I'm going to add an N here, indicating that what is tracing a noun. But see, in this case, it's also tracing a determiner, so I'll have to follow up with this. But essentially, these two traces is what I was looking for in the homework. And as long as you've done something like this, then you'll be fine. Yeah, I'll have to follow up with this, and I'll let you know, maybe in seminar or possibly just in a message update. All right. But there we go. That's the answers for questions 4, 5, and 6. I'm sorry, the answer for question 5 is kind of incomplete, but anyway, that's as much understanding as I have at the moment. And I probably won't be able to talk with Professor Libin about this until maybe later this week. But anyway, I will send an update. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see some of you in seminar, and I'll see the rest of you on Monday. Thank you.